Saturday as well, but you didn't know that, did you?
No, I didn't.
Aries, you're an Aries.
Yes, I am.
And you dreamt you were married to Alan Titchmarsh.
I did.
Yes, thank you very much. Take a seat, go.
I've made a living out of giving the impression that I have paranormal abilities, but I don't. In my work, I use a mixture of magic, suggestion, psychology, misdirection, and showmanship. But there are people who do claim to have paranormal abilities. And in this series, I'm hitting the road to see if the extraordinary claims out there are the real deal. My first port of call, Liverpool, home to the Beatles, Stephen Gerrard, and psychic medium Joe Power, a man who claims he can communicate with the dead. Among the many he's made contact with is Liverpool's favourite son, John Lennon. Joe's been kind enough to allow me to spend the next few days with him. It promises to be extraordinary.
He's saying I'm 93.
He's coming through.
Unexpected.
Is that he would have hung himself, this person. That, to me, is terrible.
And a little bit argumentative.
Joe, if you don't stand here and continue the conversation, you're not going to hear what I say in response to that.
In today's Britain, anyone can be a medium. You don't need a licence, you don't need any training. All you need is to be able to communicate with the dead.
We're off into Liverpool to meet Joe. Joe Power, a medium. The claims that he makes are quite big, quite serious. Would love it to be true. Would love to be blown away by what he does. And I'm really hoping that I'll see and hear stuff that I can't explain.
In today's recession, psychic mediumship is a boom industry. Uncertain times mean more and more of us are turning to psychics for guidance and comfort. In cities everywhere, people are knocking on the door of the likes of 42-year-old medium Joe Power.
Hello!
Mr. Brown himself. How are you?
Very good
Come
indeed.
in.
Thank you so much.
You look so much
to meet
bigger than what I expected.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, right. It's good to see you.
Bringing your magic powers into here. How are you? All right?
Very
Sit
good.
down.
We've got a gorgeous place. Lived here a long time?
Say again, sorry.
Have you lived here a long time?
About 10 years now.
10 years?
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
You should know that with your magic powers. With your mind powers.
We'll have a magic off later.
Cup of tea.
Cup
How
of
many
tea.
sugars?
No sugar, just milk, be lovely.
Just milk.
Thank you
Just
so
milk.
much.
Okay.
Can I use...
Be careful of them words, because I know in the way that you take us out. Yeah.
Anything could be happening.
Yeah, of course you can use the loo.
Thank you very much. Obviously, we'll cut that out.
This is a Mr. Brown cup of tea there. Better use my psychic powers to see if you want it. Strong or medium. Come on, Mr. Brown, your tea's ready. Very quick, you see. I do, and I fully believe what I do as a medium.
Yeah.
I know there's charlatans out there, I know there's people being ripped off out there, but I fully believe what I do is contact dead people, and that's what you're going to see this week.
Joe's already built a substantial local profile as a medium, with regular radio, newspaper and stage appearances. He could be heading for the big time. But for the moment, like many self-employed mediums all over Britain, a lot of Joe's day-to-day work is reading for individuals or families looking to contact their deceased loved ones. Charging as much as £40 a time, Joe's job as a medium is to reveal insights and give messages from the spirit world. And tonight's my first chance to see how he communicates with the dead.
Now, you mentioned sometimes that... obviously, I will leave you to this and not ask you loads of questions, but you mentioned even as approaching a house, sometimes it can...
Sometimes I get an energy of a certain person coming through, feeling straight away that I'm going to be connecting to some type of dad energy, that type of feeling, but I won't know until I actually get in. Yeah. Hi, Joe Power for a reading.
So Joe's manager put forward several suggestions of new clients who had contacted her. From them, we chose 46-year-old Wanda for Joe to give a reading to.
Could I possibly use your loo very quickly?
While Joe's in the loo, I want to make sure that Wanda hasn't inadvertently given away personal information already.
These are my eldest daughters.
So just so people know, you've written to Joe requesting a reading, but you haven't given any information about...
Absolutely none whatsoever, because it would be completely pointless.
OK, lovely.
Right.
Please sit down.
You may get a number of people coming through. I don't know until I actually start, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Now, the first thing I picked up as soon as I got to your front door was a gentleman, but I feel it is a father-in-law in the spirit world. Would that be correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
As soon as I got...
Joe's certainly quick out of the psychic starting blocks, making an instant connection with the spirit world.
Well, I don't know if he's making me aware of 7 kids or 7 children, but I'm aware of 7.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
7 in what? Is that
Children.
you?
Yeah.
You've got 7 children.
I've got 7 children.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
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 Okay, and he's mentioned 2 young babies that went to the spirit world as well.
Oh my God. Yes.
Will that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just feeling that this gentleman actually coming through. Now, I must be aware is that I'm aware here of a mum coming through from the spirit world. Do you have your mother in the spirit world?
Yes.
Okay, I just feel like this lady needs to touch her. I feel like she needs to come through, and all I can hear is that she's shouting daughter. Okay, and she's telling me that she knows that you've been through a hard, emotional time, if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah.
Okay, this lady's a bit wacky. She's giving me pea and ham soup here. So I don't know if she like to have pea and ham soup, but this is the lady that's actually trying to actually come through. I'm not too quite sure with what she's saying here. I think she's taking me back to 1981.
Yeah.
I'm seeing Pope John Paul II.
Oh my God.
Pope John Paul II. Would
Yeah,
that make sense?
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Could you tell me what that is? Because obviously.
Yeah, we went to Crystal Palace to see the Pope. And my mother was so proud because she was thrilled to bits once this Polish Pope had been elected.
But what is unusual is that I'm seeing a gentleman here, and he looks like he's only just gone to the spirit world. He's saying I'm 93, 93 years of age. Okay.
Oh my God.
Would that make sense? Yeah. Okay. I'm only feeling around 93 years of age.
He was a friend, but he was what should we say, an elderly friend who I used to buy eggs off.
There's that many people coming in now. I don't know. You know, you've basically got a room full of them. Yeah. Okay. But I'm more or less happy that your mum's come through to answer your prayers. Just to let you know is that she's fine.
Right.
And yes, she does think about you all the time. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
And with that, I'm going to say God bless with you and thank you.
Thank you.
Is that okay for you?
Yeah, that's
Thank you.
fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you. That's it. I know it's a bit emotional sometimes, but...
How are you? It was extraordinary listening to it. How are you feeling?
I feel as though I've been sitting with my mother face to face. The reference to this soup. I mean, she basically, my mother was a gastronomic disaster in the kitchen, but I mean, she did try, you know.
So that must have been a good reading for you. I thought it was a fantastic reading.
It's something that I do from day to day. You can never judge a good reading.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that, I feel like I bring comfort to people, and I feel like, I feel good with it. I feel quite good, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I suppose what it comes down to for me is that's either proof of your abilities and what you do is amazing and fantastic, or you've got someone to do research on her and it's horrible. So I'm
yeah, but obviously I've been doing this for 10 years.
Of course,
now,
and if you're doing
it's
that
reputation, and that is what I do. Never seen the woman before, and when you follow me through the week, I expect you to see the same.
The same thing again and again, yeah.
If it's people that want to come through.
I'm in Liverpool with self-styled people's medium Joe Power. So far, Joe's given an astonishing reading to a woman called Wanda,
Oh my God, yes.
where he got hit after hit after hit. Joe is a psychic medium making claim to a diverse range of talents. When not contacting the dead, he lays claim to make aura readings, psychically tapping into people's energy fields to reveal significant insights about them. So I've arranged to take Joe to the Liverpool-based set of the soap Holly to see what the stars make of him.
Hollyoaks, isn't it?
First actor up, Chris Fountain.
Hi, Chris.
How are you?
This is Joe.
Nice to meet you, Chris. How are you? All right? Yeah.
Derren,
Hi,
pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
Have a seat.
Thank you very much.
Do you know about the aura, the surroundings of the magnetic field? So you wouldn't you wouldn't really know what colours I'm picking up about you, would you?
really.
But that makes sense to you.
Yeah, it makes sense of what I want.
The most prominent colour is I'm seeing red around you at the moment. It normally represents legal issues connected to a vehicle. I don't know if you just had some connection to a vehicle. Would that be correct?
I got a parking ticket today.
Very naughty boy, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Around
My
you.
mum don't see this now, I'm in trouble.
Say it again, sorry.
I'll be in trouble with my mum now, she sees this.
Okay.
Only person that knew about my parking ticket today was my girlfriend.
Hello.
Second up, 23-year-old Anthony Quinlan.
Hi, Andy. I'm Joe. How are you? All right. Nice to meet you. You're all right.
Have a seat.
Originally, when you've just walked in, I was going to say you were one of 3, and then I dropped it to 2. How many is in your family?
There's only one.
Okay, and I just want to take you back a little bit. Was there an incident with an accident with a bike?
I really can't think.
Okay, if I took you back to around 14,
I really can't think.
okay, keep thinking for me. Okay, now I am aware of a lady coming through here connected to a grandmother. Would there be 3 sisters?
Yeah.
Yes, because she is standing directly behind you now. Okay, and she wants to congratulate you on what you're doing at this present time. Okay, she's just disappeared and she's just gone. Thanks very much for speaking to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
How did you find that?
Just amazing, absolutely. That's the only thing I wanted to hear you say. That's the only thing I wanted to hear you say.
She was there for you.
That's mental. That is mental.
I'm absolutely shattered.
It's been suggested that I try the next one.
Come on, Derren.
Okay. Time for a spot of non-psychic mind reading. And my sitter is the instantly arresting Claire Cooper.
How are you?
Nice
All
to meet
right.
you, I'm good,
Nice
thank
to meet
you.
you.
Look amazing. Thank you. Okay, so one of the reasons why I've avoided pretending to be psychic during my career is that I sort of find it a bit embarrassing and a bit excruciating telling people how they should be or what's going to happen to them, because I think all those things are not helpful to tell people. So I'm having to give myself permission to do this, because otherwise I'll feel bad. But anyway, what I see in you is a soft centre with a very hard armour shell on the outside. Does that make any sense to you, first of all?
Yeah.
Before, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Relationship-wise, as I'm saying this, you're thinking back to a recent relationship that I think was troubled and was difficult and was lovely, but when it ended, there was a lot of heartbreak at the end. You went on holiday with this guy, and it was a lovely time, but it didn't solve what this thing was.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is it the Maldives?
Yes.
Yes.
It
Lovely.
was.
Never been there, but
Yeah.
it's that image I got of pockets of sand and lots of water.
Yeah.
It was the only image I have of it. You move on from that. You wouldn't have dogs. You'd have cats. Yes. And they would be, I think, quite nice pedigree cats. I think you'd probably go for a sort of bluey, silvery, those sorts of things. I don't know much about. I'm a dog person, but does that connect?
Yes, it does, yeah.
Okay. Then that's all. That's all I think I can say.
Thank you.
Can you tell me your thoughts on that? We've been asking people afterwards what.
Yeah, it was really, really good.
Was it?
Yeah, really impressed. I've got 2 British blue cats. That's really amazing you picked up on that, especially the colour. And yeah, I've kind of broke off a relationship recently. Mm-hmm. We went to the Maldives, but it was kind of all a bit, So yeah.
How did you feel?
I don't do it very often because as far as I'm concerned, I'm not remotely psychic at all, but I find there's an interesting crossover between what I do and what Joe does and
How
what
old are you,
psychics-
Claire?
28.
Did you have a Mini at one time?
I've got one now.
You've got one now. You drive a Mini.
Yeah.
And your cat has the paw okay on one of them. There's been a little bit of bother.
Mishka had a problem with one of her paws, one of her claws.
But I like to come up with facts.
Thank you so much. I know we've kept you for too long.
Absolutely fine. Thank you for having me. Nice to meet you.
I forgot to say about the affair.
What affair?
Oh, it doesn't matter, forget it.
No, tell me. No, tell me. You can't do that.
No, go on, keep going.
We'll leave that for another time.
No, don't leave
You
it,
just
don't
keep
leave it.
travelling in your Mini. So
it's
basically, I could have just been picking that up from the Yorick field, which it's stored within the magnetic field, and I wouldn't be a person that would leave you in limbo thinking something was going on.
No, but you were, because you were just going to say, don't think about the affair, and then you're going to
No, because you were putting me on the spot, Darren.
No, you said that yourself, and you were going to leave her in limbo on that. So.
No, I wasn't.
As long as you got your hits, but that was quite a nice thing to say.
It's not hits, it's
well, no, but
facts.
it is, because
It's facts.
As soon as I say that, you bring it back to, but
It's
I was quite
facts.
good, wasn't I?
It's facts.
But thank you again. Sorry to
Pleasure.
put you through all that. It's
all right.
Excellent. Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you. Thank
And
you.
you as well.
Mwah. Bye.
Goodbye. Bye-bye, Claire.
Bye.
By observing you today, there is no doubt is that you are not working on a
Psychic level.
level.
But she's going to go away from that. She could have gone away from that, believing I was psychic. I think if I'd have told her I was psychic, she'd have believed that. And I could have given her some advice. I could have framed it in terms of a spirit telling me these things, a grandmother telling me these things, rather than me sort of being a bit more honest about how I was getting it.
The difference
same.
between me and you, I come up with facts.
Just shows that every psychic's different and they work very, very differently. And I think Derren is psychic. I think he is.
I'm starting to see why mediums like Joe have such appeal. People want to believe he's in contact with their dead loved ones. It brings them a huge amount of comfort.
Because she feels like she's touched her daughter.
And no matter what happens during the reading, they want to give him the benefit of any
She
doubt.
wants to congratulate you.
There was a case with Anthony, who was a cast member on Hollyoaks. Joe gave him a lot of information that sort of kept missing, really. It didn't feel like a good reading at all. And after a series of those misses, he finally said there's a grandmother that's come through.
Connected to a grandmother.
Which is kind of obvious that he'd have a grandmother who died. But the fact that he wanted that he wanted to have that contact with his grandmother, that was enough to validate the whole thing. To the extent that immediately after he was saying it was an amazing reading. Purely because his grandmother had come through.
Just amazing, absolutely. That's the only thing I wanted to hear you say.
The dilemma for me is I'm kind of interested in taking a step back and going, well, is there any evidence for it? But you realise when you look at what's happening in these readings, no one cares particularly about the evidence. They just want to be told that their loved ones are still there. And the moment even the slightest, faintest implication that may have not been quite what it seemed is hurtful and horrible for them. And of course, it's much more likely to be angry at me for suggesting that than they are at Joe.
But there are some common themes already emerging in Joe's claims of contacting the dead. And my driver, Lee, has noticed one in particular. Joe's use of numbers.
So, Lee, Joe did a reading for you.
Yeah.
How was that reading?
It was quite scary, really. It seemed quite accurate at the time.
Give me a couple of things he said to you that...
I'm from a family of 4, which I assumed it was just meant brothers and sisters.
Right.
But he mentioned that to somebody else, and he meant like mum and dad as well.
So you counted it without mum and dad?
Yeah.
It was 4.
Yeah.
Did you have a Mini at one time?
I've got one now.
You've got one now, you drive a Mini.
Yeah.
What's more, Lee saw something before Claire's reading which might be significant.
When you did come in and listen to some of the readings, you heard Joe tell Claire that she drove a Mini. But what did you tell me afterwards? Because that was quite interesting.
Well, when he was outside with his car, Claire actually drove past in a Mini Cooper and pulled up alongside him, got out the car and walked past into the building.
Now, of course, Joe may not have seen the Mini, so I shall have to ask him. But something about which there's no doubt is that Joe does have a whole lot of ambition. Tonight he's invited me along to what's considered the next step up any psychic medium's career ladder, a sellout show. And this is the first psychic show I've ever been to. And it's a bit of a surprise. Given the show is all about contacting the dead, I was expecting a sombre audience. But this lot, 250 people paying £10 each, are anticipating a bit of entertainment.
On stage, Mr. Joe Power.
time for Joe to meet his public.
Do you know I can actually look into your life like a book and open it up and open a page and have a look at your secrets? I'm going to be contacting the alleged spirit world. Is everyone up for that?
Yeah. For the next 2 hours, Joe's taking this willing crowd into his world.
I've got 2 people coming through. Where am I? Where are we? 2 people? He's saying he's got his marbles back.
Thank God.
And they love him. For them, Joe's worth the price on the ticket as he delivers hit.
There was a rat in his house.
Thank you.
After hit.
If he's like, would be 38 or...
38.
38, thank you very much.
But interspersed with the showmanship are stories of real tragedy. There's been a lot of heartache in this room.
But the main person is the person that's being crushed, OK? He needs to let you know is that he's fine. In the vehicle...
The many stories of suicides and violent deaths bring home the intimate level at which these people are allowing Joe to tread. He carries a real responsibility as he involves himself in their memories.
OK, you've got 2 suicides. Yeah, your son was murdered.
My first husband committed suicide as well.
OK, does one of them know Gary? OK, is that he passed through a suicide. She's mentioning cocaine, she's mentioning drugs. Is that he would have hung himself, this person?
It makes me feel sad and uncomfortable, and I wonder what's more important.
Just that you know, is that they're OK?
Whether Joe's actually psychic, or whether he brings comfort.
OK, I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave Michelle with you. She's absolutely fine. She's happy. Yeah?
I understand.
OK, thanks, God bless you. OK, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
I thought he was really good, really accurate.
I thought he was great. Yeah, he was really good.
Yeah, he is very good. Yeah.
Whatever you try to do, you try to, with me, is try to keep the audience uplifted because you've got a lot of people grieved in the audience and different things. It'll just be my natural way of working, you know, sometimes serious, sometimes a little bit uplifting, and then, you know, changing from time to time.
Where would you imagine yourself in five years' time? What would you love to be doing with this?
I would like to be doing shows in front of, say, 2,000 and 3,000 people because I feel I make a lot stronger connections than other people that are performing out there now.
But I am a bit surprised to discover that some of the people Joe read for tonight have had readings with him before, albeit some time ago.
He's actually given me the same reading last year, about 12 months ago.
I have had a reading off him before, but it was a long time ago.
We've been to an open circle before with Adam. You've seen him before privately, haven't you?
Yeah, I have.
And she has a different
Wow. And everything that he says is always
spot on.
Joe says that people are going to follow him regularly if they like psychic performances and will have seen more than one show.
Do another one because I'm waiting to go guys.
Okay, ready? 1, 2.
Tonight's audience certainly believed Joe was communicating with the dead. I'd love it to be true as well, but I've got my doubts. And Joe's not going to like them.
I'm going to shake your hand.
Are you a fake?
No, I'm 100% not a fake. What I do as a medium is 100% genuine.
I'm spending 5 days with Joe Power, a self-styled people's medium working in Liverpool.
I felt like more of a father-in-law.
Is he the real deal? Or if he's not contacting the dead,
Mike.
I really can't think.
does he hold a genuine belief that he is? Last night, Joe performed a show in which he wowed an audience by communicating with the dead. But while he could be, there is another way of achieving similar results. And I'll let you into a secret. It involves one of the many techniques I use when I'm on stage. It's called cold reading.
And she's still got tears in her
It allows you to give the impression you know personal details about people you've only just met.
She's fine on your side. Okay, this only
Professor Richard Wiseman, who attended last night's show, is an expert in studying claims of paranormal abilities. I met him for a second opinion on how cold reading could be used.
That's your grandson.
What Joe is doing, I think is impressive in the sense that he's standing on stage and getting people to say, yes, my goodness, you seem to be in contact with somebody in the spirit world. The question is he doing that through some kind of psychological cold reading technique, or is it genuine? You're never going to know for certain.
If Joe is cold reading, he would first have to make the connection. Here you convince a bereaved spectator that you have a link to a loved one in the spirit world.
Linking to her is her name is Jean.
So what's better than mentioning a name?
Clear, and I know that someone should be connecting to this lady. Good bloody start. Okay.
But if that doesn't work, you just try another name.
Is Debbie. That should be linked to this lady.
It's my auntie and cousin.
And hey presto, you've made the connection.
People in the spirit world.
Yeah.
Just bear with me one moment.
Okay. So it's an interesting start there. He comes out and he says, absolutely crystal clear, I'm looking for a Jean. And there's not much of a response there, so it becomes then it's Debbie as well. If you listen to the actual words, actually Jean has vanished from it.
Now, is this lady only just passed?
But with the audience member now hooked, there's still work to do. You've got to reveal facts about them and their dead loved ones.
You'll be the right connection. You stay with me a second.
So next up, the sitter does the work.
Oh God, you said Jean before. It'll be Joan. She's over there in the audience.
Where is she?
That's another sister.
So this is the sitter doing all the work. So he came out and said, Jean. Oh, and now I've worked it out. You mean Joan, who's alive over there. So it's the sitter doing the work.
Is it Paul? I don't know if that was one of his friends. You may need to...
He had a partner, Pauline.
Okay.
Now, there's also that sense of throwing out a lot of options. So they're trying to fit this information, they're dropping away the stuff that doesn't make sense, they're picking up and getting the psychic to elaborate on the stuff that does. So it involves a back and forth.
Okay, where's the family of 5 of you then? Is it this 5? I need to...
Nowhere is this more apparent than when the audience has to work hard to make sense of the numbers.
Okay, why don't you mention 5 then? Is it like 5 of you, or is it 5 connection?
5 girls and a boy.
So there he says, I'm getting the figure 5. And she says, yeah, 5 girls and a boy. Or as some might refer to it, 6.
6, yeah.
So again, he might be right. He might be right, maybe. It was 5 girls and the spirits were whispering that to him and he just couldn't quite make sense of it. Or it could just be a number that's thrown out there and it's her job to make it fit.
Is it 5 connection?
5 girls and a boy.
Sometimes, rather than throwing specific information at the audience to work out, cold reading also allows you to deal with generalities.
Have to wait for me to link.
So next up, Barnum statements. Comments that could apply to many people.
Okay, how's your knee?
Not too good.
He's talking about your knee, love.
I know.
Okay, you've had problems with it?
Yeah.
And is it your hip as well?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying to a lady of a certain age that she has a dodgy knee or hip is what we call a Barnum statement, isn't it? From P.T. Barnum, who said there's something for everyone. It's a phrase that can clearly apply to a lot of people in that situation, although it sounds very specific in the way that it's delivered.
But out of all the cold reading techniques, my personal favourite is the recap.
I just felt...
Here you tell the audience something they've just told you.
Or Catherine.
Her name's Catherine, a sister, but we call her Kissy.
And 1 minute, 22 seconds and 23 frames later...
But I want to keep talking to you, and you mentioned the name of Kitty, didn't you? Not me, because I'm hearing that again, by the way. It's as if like it's a nickname.
Well, her name's Catherine, but everyone calls her Kissy.
Ah, because she's saying nickname. Okay, so it's a nickname that we used to call her.
He's already heard that. She's already told him that.
I believe that's the case. So this is a kind of recapping. But of course, if you don't remember the beginning part of the reading, which is when he was explicitly told that, you could look at that and think, oh my goodness, how on earth did he come up with that information? And the answer is he was told it fairly early on.
And could this be another one?
There's 3 people that I need to connect to.
Yeah, it was my cousin. There was 3 of them in a car.
Was 2 killed?
Yeah.
She said cousin.
Yeah.
Okay, I need
and
you
what's
to speak
revealed?
to me because I'm feeling that these 2 people... Was one like a cousin, or was the
Yeah, it was my cousin.
It was your cousin? Yeah. Okay, does the name of Jimmy connect...
But we're all human, and sometimes you do get the information wrong.
No.
No? No. Don't know what that is.
But if it is going wrong, there's a solution, and it's called the blame game. You can blame the spirits,
I felt his energy, but I'm not convinced as that I'm talking to him. So I'd rather let you sit down if that's okay.
Or you can blame the audience if the information doesn't quite ring true.
Okay, she's saying yes, she was in the hospital.
Yeah, she was a while back. I don't know, she may have been.
Okay, you may need to think about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's never I'm wrong. It's simply that now you have to go and investigate that because, you know, we've got to find out more information about it.
Do you know if there's an anniversary or birthday that falls on the 23rd? Think about it.
I can't think.
Well, I can, love, so, okay. I'm probably a little bit faster. Okay.
And if you're saying no, it can be left with you as a sitter. Well, think about it. Go away and think about it. In other words, I'm right and you're wrong until you find
it's my problem.
Right, and I could be wrong, but I don't think I am.
Now, none of this is to say that this isn't genuine.
Yeah.
What we're saying is there's just other ways of looking at this.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm going to say good night and God bless. Thank you.
The end of the show. Joe could be communicating with the dead. But my discussion with Professor Wiseman explains how similar results can be obtained through cold reading. Joe himself emphatically denies using any of these techniques, saying he solely uses what he terms as his gift of mediumship.
What you would have is your cynics on one side going, well, that's it, you know, it's all cold reading, and your believers on the other kind of going, no, it's all genuine. But I think that these abilities actually exist. There is only one way to find out whether they're real or not, and that is to do some kind of test.
Before we started filming, Joe agreed in principle to undertake a scientific test. Formulated independently by Professor Wiseman, the basic idea was to have Joe read for some people that he couldn't see or talk to, and this would eliminate the possibility of cold reading. He'd have to rely purely on what the spirits wanted to say, and he wouldn't be helped by any information the sitter fed to him. But as the week went on, Joe felt the test was unfair to his particular style of mediumship, and he didn't want to do it.
So we were going to be doing the test today, which you've said you'd rather not do. You know, the point of the test was to show that it isn't just cold reading, or isn't just this, or isn't just that. I'd have thought you'd have welcomed the chance to show that it was real. So what's your reasons for...
A dog wouldn't take that test.
Right.
It was designed for failure. Because I am a clairaudient.
Right.
And I need to have voice reaction. I need to have communication in order for the spirit people to come through. What happens is that I've got an energy field and a spirit has an energy field, but they haven't got a voice box.
Right.
Okay, so I need to have dialogue with the other person.
So if you wanted to test another medium, and you wanted to check that they weren't, just say you weren't sure if they were cold reading or whether they were genuinely doing it, so you wanted to sort of remove the possibility of cold reading, what sort of, how would you test it? Because that's what was so...
Well, I would know me.
You just know?
I would know straight away.
Okay.
I've been in churches where I've seen a medium standing on the platform and he says, I've got your mother here, and I know that he hasn't because the father's standing behind him.
In the way that Joe has backed out of the test, he's found a description for how he does it that means you can't test it because you can't remove any of the other possibilities. It's the equivalent to him saying, I've got a UFO in the garden, you can come and look at it, but it's invisible. You can't see it or touch it, so you've still got to believe me. You've still got to believe. There is no way of testing whether there's a UFO there or not. You just got one bloke that says it's there.
But if Joe won't do a scientific test, he has agreed to do a second one-on-one reading. In his first reading with Wanda, he scored hit after hit. This time I wanted to arrange a reading which was independently organised by us. A woman called Roz answered an ad I put in the local paper and agreed to be read by Joe.
Hi, Roz. Hi. Hello.
I've asked her to use a fictitious name and an address other than her own.
Most people, when they go into a reading, say they're kind of a bit sceptical, they don't know. What are your thoughts at the moment? Do you believe in this kind of thing?
I'd like to believe in it, and 99% of me, yeah, and there's 1% doubtful.
Can I ask you as well, if you don't mind telling us, we know you have had a loss in your life because that's why we have a meeting. Can you just tell us the details of what happened? Is that all right?
Yeah, it was our older sister. She developed breast cancer, which was being treated, and it was looking good. And then it just came back with revenge. When Elaine was alive, and the three of us made a pact that if something happened, one of us died, the person who died would find a way of getting through to the other two of us. Because I'm sure if there's a way, she will definitely find it.
So Roz is not sceptical, and she's genuinely seeking contact. We've just changed her name and address. I've left Roz, or Pam as we're calling her, to collect Joe for the reading. So far, I've seen no real evidence to confirm that Joe is communicating with the dead. But in the next few minutes, if Joe scores hit after hit as he did before, it'll help persuade me that he is the real deal.
There you go.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
Derren, come on, behave yourself.
Okay.
So
let's go in.
Yes. Do you know who you are? Have you been in the house before?
I've said a hello. We've turned up and I said a hello. But,
Yeah. So you've been in. You've met these people. Before?
I have briefly met them. Yes, I have.
Thank you. I wanted to go to the loo first before I see these people.
Okay.
For me, this is Joe's moment.
Actually, I'll sit here. Hello.
Hi.
So, Pam, Joe, Pam.
Hi, Pam. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Joe.
You're all right, thank you. Now, I'm aware of a gentleman actually coming through. It feels more like a father in the spirit world. Okay, do you have a dad in the spirit world?
Yes.
Yes, okay. I felt your dad, as soon as I come through the room, wanted to try and come through and say hello to you. Okay, I don't know if he's saying 2 children connected, but there was meant to be 3. How many children do you have?
2.
2. It's something to do with 2 children.
Yes.
But there should have been 3 children. Mm-hmm. Would that make sense to you?
Yeah, it makes sense, yeah.
Okay, and you have, obviously that child is in the spirit world now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Have you come here to try and communicate and bring this child through?
No, not the child. No.
Okay, that's fine, don't worry about it. Now, I'm also aware of a lady coming through as well. I'm pretty sure is that it was connected to a mum. Would she have been one of 5?
Yes.
Yes, because she talked about there's 5 of us. Yeah? Okay, she keeps talking about a separation here, divorce. Okay, and I don't know whether this is connected to do with you or there was some type of split up going back quite a while.
No.
Okay, why she mentioned 17 years ago then? Is the Jimmy or James connected?
No.
She's saying yes on grandfather's side?
No.
Okay, maybe have a think about it. It may come back a little bit later on. Okay. I feel it's connected to the 5 which was connected to your mum when she said it was one of 5. Okay, so it may go back a long time ago. Sometimes we can't think because the mind has to think a lot beforehand. Yeah? Okay, because I've never met you, I've never seen you before, and as soon as I come in, I knew it was that your father was waiting here for you. And I knew it was that your mum was waiting, and I knew it was that I wanted to ask her for a little bit of information, and she said 5 of them. So you would know that was your mother coming through. Other than that, I want to say God bless and thanks for speaking to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. There's one particular person that I know was trying to get through to me.
Okay, don't worry about that. There may be a person trying to come through, but sometimes the spirit people will come through in their own time.
They said if there's a way of coming through, they will find it.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I thought, you might be that person.
Yeah, but maybe I'm not the right person all the time. I can't guarantee I can go to one place and bring a certain person through. So I wouldn't be too disappointed. I'd be happy that someone is coming through. Yeah. Can I just ask you as well? I know you seem disappointed. Is the Paul connected with you?
Paul. We have a Paul, yeah.
Okay, as in the living world.
Living world, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, because your obviously mum is talking about Paul. It's okay. You don't mind me asking. I don't know if he's a cousin or someone quite close to you.
In-law.
In-law, Paul, in-law.
What does my mum want to say about Paul?
I don't. All I know at the moment is that there was some type of connection with Paul. I don't know if there's been some spot of bother or something happened around Paul, but I know is that she was specifically talking of a Paul.
No, that doesn't make any sense.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
I was hoping for something a bit more definite.
How you managed to come in and have a reading?
How was it arranged? I applied to have a reading done.
To who?
To the advert.
Okay, and who answered the phone?
I can't think offhand now which person.
Okay, and have you met Derren before, have you?
No, never.
He's just said he's just been in your house.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, this morning, yeah. I meant not before today.
So you've met Derren?
Yeah,
you know
today.
Derren is a sceptic, and you just said that you haven't seen Derren before, and he's been in your house before I've just come in. You just told me, Derren, that you haven't been here. So
only asked him today. I've only met him today.
So you'd rather we hadn't met at all? That would have.
Of course, yes. Okay. You know, I'm quite happy. Your mum's come through. She talked about the 5 kids. Okay, that is good enough for me.
5 kids.
5. She was one of 5.
Oh, she was one of 5.
One of 5, yeah.
Right.
But you seem to be trying to, as if I need to prove to you.
No, I'm very open-minded. I was hoping.
Yeah.
No, very open-minded.
Yeah.
No.
But that's why I would have preferred not meeting Derren Brown. No. So anyway, I'm going to say thank you with that.
Okay.
And thank you for this. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Okay, talk to me. You seem unhappy.
Well, I'm unhappy because you told me a blatant lie.
Which was?
You told me that you had not been in this house.
I told you I had been in that house.
No, you told me you had not been in this house. Yeah. So you've been in. You've met these people.
I have briefly met them. Yes, I have.
Thank you. But don't you think that's absolutely terrible? That to me is terrible.
Joe, if you don't stand here and continue the conversation, you're not going to hear what I say in response to that.
You've been in the house, you're supposed to be a famous person, you was never meant to be in that house.
Joe, I'm going to be honest with you, it seems like if you do a bad reading, you blame everybody else other than yourself. It's her fault, it's my fault, and it's not your fault.
It is, you shouldn't have gone into the house, it was corruption.
Nothing to do with it, Joe, it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a difference.
Corruption, that is absolutely terrible. Bad showmanship, Derren. Bad showmanship.
I don't know what... Okay, so you think by me being in there and being sceptical, that makes her more sceptical?
Yes. You've got to draw a fine line of what is real and what is sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of the things what I do is real because I am touching people, right, in a nice way.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you push overboard and you're taking literally the piss out of skeptics and mediums when there's real gifted people out there, okay, that's when it draws a line.
As I said, I'm quite disappointed in the outcome. Okay. It was nothing to do with you.
Mm-hmm.
There was no influence from you whatsoever.
I mean, from watching him, it feels like if things start to go a bit wrong, he'll keep bringing back up the information that he got right, and he kept going back to the 5. She was one of 5 kids, so he kept going back to that. And so did she have 5?
Think about it now afterwards. Sorry, it was 6.
Oh, it was 6?
Yeah. I said a quick count on my fingers, and I thought 5, then including my mum, would have been 6.
So she was one of 6, not one of 5?
No, one of 6, yeah.
I'm in Liverpool with psychic medium Joe Power, who makes a living out of the claim that he communicates with people's dead loved ones. For me, my time spent with Joe has come down to a tale of 2 very different readings. One, a great success, and another, which didn't go so well. Vanda's reading was a very, very good reading, and it wasn't cold reading. You can tell because cold reading always follows a certain pattern, a pattern of throwing out information, letting the other person making it fit, and then kind of taking credit for it yourself as a psychic. And he certainly wasn't doing that. He was giving information.
He's saying I'm 93.
And it was a very, very different situation with the second lady.
Is the Jimmy or James connected?
No.
In my opinion, it looked like cold reading, and bad cold reading. And he says that that was invalid because I'd said hello to this woman before and that my mere presence there would have made her more sceptical. I actually don't really see why that would stop her relatives who loved her from coming through. I still don't really see why that would make it not work. And I think you're left with this same either or. Either he is genuine, all this is just very unfortunate, he's just had a bad week, but he is genuine, in which case there's a lot more questions to be asked. It's a fascinating thing that we should embrace and look more closely at. Or he's a fake. And he's not just doing card tricks, he's involving himself with people who are bereaved and vulnerable. If that is what he's doing, that is an insult not only to the memory of the deceased, but also to the dignity of the bereaved.
It's now my last night in Liverpool, and time for a final chat with Joe. Top of the agenda, the contrast between the two readings.
If the spirit world don't want to make contact, then okay, you don't come through. So you can't compare one reading that it's a good reading and one reading that is a bad reading.
Of course.
Spirit world doesn't work like that.
All right.
And you wouldn't know that, would you? Because you don't have these ability to know.
But I have other abilities and other knowledge, and that's what I'm bringing to it. I'm not bringing to it a knowledge of how the spirit works, that's your area. What I am bringing is a knowledge of cold reading and how people can fake and how people can be fooled.
Did you have a Mini at one time?
I've got one now.
You've got one now, you drive a Mini?
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that you said in your reading to Claire was that she drove... Claire was the last girl. Remember, I did a reading, a sort of a fake reading.
No, I said I was picking up a Mini.
That's right.
She said she drove a Mini.
That's right, yeah, which was great, and it was a good hit. And then I found out that she'd pulled up next to you in her Mini outside in the parking lot.
Now you are really clutching at straws. I mean, this is probably the worst. I think before you make accusations of me...
I'm not. I want your answer. I want your response.
I'm quite disgusted in that you've come to stoop this low, which is totally fabrication on your behalf.
So she didn't turn up in the Mini?
I don't know, I've never seen her.
Oh,
I've never ever seen her.
It's what I want to find out.
Yeah, but I'm quite shocked that you've even gone to that extreme. Okay, well, we could go on about this. I mean, but
it's important. It's important. There's a difference between you're really connecting with those people and you're sort of trampling on their memories and insulting the bereaved and the deceased.
No, you're insulting the people out there, the believers. You only have an opinion. Darren, we've had a good week.
I have to present you with this so you can respond.
Okay, we've had a good week. I'm going to shake your hands.
Are you fake?
No, I'm 100% not a fake. You know deep down, right?
Are you genuinely channeling dead people?
I am genuinely channeling dead people.
Did you do research on any of those people?
No, I did not do any research whatsoever on any single person.
Can you sleep at night? Are you happy
I can
with what you're
sleep
doing?
very, very well every single night.
You can look at yourself in the mirror.
I can look at you and I can look at you 100% in the eyes and tell you what I do as a medium is 100% genuine. Yeah?
I have to let the viewers make up their mind.
And it's a pleasure working with you.
My time with medium Joe Power has involved gauging whether or not he's real, but I'm left considering another question. Maybe the comfort mediums offer is more important than where it all comes from. I'm unable to believe Joe actually contacts the dead, but I have learnt it's a far more complex business than I'd imagined. After I finished filming with Joe, something came up concerning his reading with Vonda. Joe's always maintained he'd never met her before, which Vonda has confirmed, and Joe told us she did not give him any information. Joe has always said he did not know any of her details, but what I've discovered is that Vonda's next-door neighbour is in fact Joe's sister. Now I asked Joe for clarification. Joe said that he had been surprised to find out that Vonda lived next door to his sister. And he went on to say that since he's read for many people in that particular area of Liverpool and that particular street, he put it down to no more than a mere coincidence.